Welcome back, YouTube. I'm Edwin.
And I'm Joseph.
And this is Edwin and Joseph Talks. So let's talk aliens, man.
We're going to talk aliens. Now, it's not going to come out today, which is Monday, because we're recording today. But it will be out tomorrow, Tuesday. So this will be kind of an Alien Tuesday. And I got a good one here. Have you ever heard of Stardust Ranch?
I haven't. That's one of the few cases I haven't heard of.
Okay. So Stardust Ranch is in an area that they call Rainbow Valley. It's about an hour and a half west of Phoenix.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of the guy John Edmonds?
No, I can't honestly recall that name.
He is the current owner of Stardust Ranch. Now, he is trying to sell this ranch for $5 million. We'll get into this a little bit later.
Now, is that more or less than what Walker Ranch sold for?
I believe more.
More?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I had heard about this actually a long time ago. And he had claimed at the time to have killed like 10 grays with a samurai sword.
With a samurai?
With a samurai sword. Okay. As by 2017, it went up to 18 of them. Okay. With a samurai sword. That's why I've never actually looked into this, because
it sounds a little ridiculous.
Exactly. You're like, is this legit? So today, after a while, I was like, you know what? I want to look into this case further. Because, we've been talking about, false reports and how to identify some of the other stuff.
Right.
So I started doing research. Now, during my research, I've started pulling up, let's go with facts. Property history was, this property is sold 4 times in the last 34 years. Okay, now what I have here is, this is from March 25th of 1985. It was sold for $100,000. April 21st of 1989, it was sold for $160,000. April 30th, 1993, sold for $160,000. April 19th of 1996, sold for $237,000. Okay. September 30th of 2013, it was listed for $25,000 for being sold.
Wow.
Okay. December 31st of 2013, the price changed to $19,900.
So it started increasing and then slowly...
Just wait. June 29th of 2014, it jumped to $1,700,000.
Okay.
If I remember right, that's about the time that I've heard cases of this place. October 28th, 2015, listed for $1,500. I mean, $1,500. $1,500,000. Yes. So it went down $100,000. May 17th of 2016, they renovated the roof. August 5th of 2016, it got listed back on there for $2,500,000. Now, there was an episode of Ghost Adventures that was shot there July 30th of 2016. Or that's when the episode came out.
That's when it aired?
So right after the episode...
That's when it jumped on the price.
Yeah, it went up $1 million, and then it shot up to $5 million. Right now, it's currently on the market for $3,999,999. That's a lot of nines, but basically $4 million. So it went down $1 million. The property is only estimated $388,800.
So something about this property is making the current owner sell this for...
Well, before we get into the actual case, this is the skeptical part.
Okay.
It didn't shoot up to $5 million until Ghost Adventures aired its episode.
Well, I mean, that makes sense because it's on TV, so the guy figured, oh, well...
And until the guy started talking about aliens, it was cheap, real cheap.
Well, yeah, I mean, it went down, what, to like
It went
19,000 or something like that?
about 20,000 to 1,700,000.
In the span of how many years?
That's within the year.
Within
December
a
31st of June. So
Not even a year, dude.
Yeah.
It's like 7-8 months.
So my skeptical side is this guy trying to use all this to make a lot of money and sell the place?
I can see that.
That's where my first skeptic says. Now, let me get into some of the stuff. He said that in 20 years, he's experienced many strange things. Hold on, guys. I'm missing the paper. Here we go. A lot of the things that he's reported, he's seen mysterious figures out on the ranch, almost like Skinwalker.
Okay.
He hasn't actually said he's ever seen anything like the Skinwalkers, where the one guy said that he's seen like the werewolf.
The werewolf looking thing, yeah.
Now, he reported that when he first bought the ranch, a guy walked right in his front gate with a machete. He said it was an extremely weird-looking guy. And he said, "Who are you?" And the guy said, "I'm the guy that kills the monsters."
So it's like
That
a
was the very-
landscaper for the paranormal.
That was the very first strange event that happened to him. Okay. He's had horse mutilations.
Well, my thing of that, though, is that, I mean, can you chalk that up to paranormal, or is it just the crazy guy with the machete running around?
Some of the pictures I've seen was very bizarre.
Yeah, so
On
what,
it,
it
yeah.
didn't look like a cut? It
Well,
looked
we're
like-
talking about like nothing left of horse other than the skin just sitting there, but it was fresh.
Okay,
There was not the owner that was there before him. But I guess the previous owner before that, their son committed suicide in the living room. Shotgun to the head, took himself out. He has mentioned that one of the people that owned the property just totally disappeared.
like, just no trace, just gone?
Just gone. All their stuff remained at the ranch.
What the hell?
They've had people investigate. They've had people investigate it for aliens, paranormal, and just other weird stuff. They've had basically psychic entities come, everything like that. They've literally said that they've seen portals open and grays come out and stuff like that.
These are the people that investigated it?
Investigating and the owners.
Oh, wow.
They this is quoted by him. They actually levitated, and they're talking about the Greys.
The Greys.
My wife out of the master bed and carried her into the parking lot, and I tried to draw her up in the craft. Now, he's talked about this before, where he grabbed his AK-47 and he just started letting loose.
Like at the craft? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they were trying to take his
wife.
They've reported that they have, one of them has gotten type 2 diabetes, and the other one is, basically both of them have developed illnesses because of all the weird stuff. She's reported that all types of weird stuff's happened to her, from the bed levitation to basically being like sexually assaulted type deals. All types of weird stuff has happened to a point where she won't even sleep in that bedroom anymore.
That's crazy.
So there's been tons of just weird stuff, and there's sightings of things all the time there.
Like, not just aliens, just like different stuff?
Just they believe that it's aliens. Now, I had mentioned that Ghost Adventures that came and checked it out.
Right.
Now, we have a previous episode where we've kind of talked about how you can take those shows kind of with a grain of salt.
Yeah, because you don't really know what's
Going
real,
on.
what's
So when they went to talk with him, they had a couple people that is investigated it,
Okay.
and also they were talking to him, and he was just like, excuse me, you killed some of these things. Now what he had said that is, their bodies will vanish unless you take their head clean off
So
and
you
cut
gotta
off
like
their
zombie
antenna.
style kill them.
Yeah, or else they just kind of, they said that they go back somehow. Is you have to.
This is crazy.
That's why it's so like, what the heck?
Yeah, because this is a lot weirder than Skinwalker Ranch, and Skinwalker Ranch was talking about werewolves.
Yeah,
right?
and that's a very weird spot. He said unless you cut off the head off and disconnect the antennae, just so to speak, they instantly phone home. Even with razor sharp sword, it's nearly impossible to decapitate him with one swing.
And for those of you who can't see what we're reading, it does legit say phone home on there.
Yeah. And this is coming from Edmonds. Now, after this happened, he had a guy take samples of where he killed one of them.
Okay.
The body basically
Disintegrates, kind of?
disintegrated, but he has areas where he's killed these things, and so it was right after he killed one, they got a sample of it. Now, the guy that did
Wait, they were there when he killed it? Or he
he
killed it and
and
phoned
then-
them up and said, hey, come
he
here.
had already been in contact. It was with somebody out east. I didn't print that whole document out because it was like 6 pages
Right.
of reports. But in that, the first person he was talking to, they did tests with it, and they have DNA that they said that was not human, that was a mix between basically some type of humanoid and plant.
Humanoid and plant?
Yeah, like there was chlorophyll and stuff in this DNA.
That's crazy.
And with that, the original person that did the test had a mysterious accident in his lab and died. And the samples disappeared.
That's weird.
And it was all the way out east. Now there's the second person that was doing some testing basically on the old places. And the test kind of came up with the same thing, which they don't know what the DNA was. It's not human. It was some type of mix between a plant-based object and a humanoid object of a DNA.
Humanoid meaning like it shared some of the same DNA structure as us?
Yeah.
Or?
And they these samples have came up with DNA testing through like alien stuff through the last 30 years. Like they've got other cases where they've gotten the same DNA.
That's crazy.
Now, he claims that all the aliens that he physically sees are grays. And I've heard reports that the grays are like the most violent of all the alien.
Yeah, I've read similar things where it talks about like different subspecies of, aliens, UFOs, whatever you want to call it. And every report I read, it's either the reptilians and
Not sponsored.
the reptilians and the greys are usually the most hostile ones. Like those are always the ones you read that they want to come to Earth strictly to harm humans, take us over, whatever. But okay, so that's just weird. Like
Yeah.
the whole cutting off the head. Like how did he even figure that out? Like
He's claimed to killed 18 of them.
and he just figured out like head and antenna one day, or.
I mean,
if this is real, I gotta give it to the dude.
I remember he killed, like it was about half these when I first heard about it. It probably went in about 2014. Okay. I I had heard that he'd killed, and that's one of the first time I was like, some guy out there killing aliens with a samurai sword. Like, what the heck?
That's what, like, I mean, if this is real, like,
And the reason why I really wanted to see what he looked like. It's an older dude.
yeah,
White hair. She has white hair. They didn't show her face, but you could tell she had white hair. They're an older couple. And just the amount of activity and just strange stuff that he can report is...
I mean, to get in close combat with something from another planet that you don't know what they're capable of.
Well, the reason why he had to was majority of them is because they were, like he said, attacking his wife.
No, I know, but I mean, like
that.
I mean, if something like that happened to me, the first thing I would reach for is a gun. So this dude's just grabbing a samurai sword and getting close combat.
I think it's because the samurai sword just kind of by him.
So it's just the first thing he grabbed.
Yeah, because he shot at him with a gun. He has 2 AK-47s. That's what Ghost Hunters. He was like, "Hey, you want to see the samurai sword? See the gun?" And a weird thing happened. You can take those episodes with a grain of salt because the main dude was in their little living room, and that's where the portal opens.
Right.
And so they were asking about like this portal opening and all this stuff, and something happened to him where they look over and he's holding the samurai sword, and they're like, "Dude, what's up with you?" And he wasn't responding. And then all of a sudden he snaps out. This was a good, like, maybe minute to 2 minutes. And he goes, "I'm really dizzy and I don't know why I was holding this." He puts it down. He sits down. It was very bizarre. So if all this is real, this place is a trip. So their main thing with being ghost hunters is they were trying to, one, figure out, is this phenomenon alien? Is it ghosts? Is it demons? Is it all three?
Right.
Now, they've heard cases of either aliens or ghosts, vice versa, mimicking each other. First time I'd really heard of that.
Yeah, I've never... I mean, it makes sense, I guess, because if you think about, like, you always hear about demons and spirits, they can shapeshift into whatever. And aliens, if they are out there, you don't know what they're capable of.
Yeah. So let me read you this right here, which there was it was like an interview done through Google's I can't think of what it's called right now, but behind him you could see a little gray, like,
poke his head out?
Yeah, poke his head out. And that's the first time ever in a live interview they've ever seen something like that. The person,
and it was like live, like it was actually...
Yeah. He would Edmonds was sitting there talking to a lady interviewing him, and she goes, "John, something just poked your head out behind you."
I need to see that.
Yeah, which I was like, what? But so this is what he's claimed to seen and heard in the sunroom. He goes, "The speed generated by their movement," and he put 3 critters at once, "made the glass on the double pane windows actually buzz and misalign in the frames, to a point that the windows are now difficult to close, unlock properly without using a screwdriver to align them in the frame." He goes, "I believe the high-frequency buzz is a side effect of their partial in-phase and out-phase interdimensional travel."
That's pretty trippy, man.
They had another investigator, and she believes that it's a part, like, their place is a portal for them to come in and out of. She said that she went out, and this is the dude from Ghost Avengers, was like, stopped the show and was like, "Are these people for real at this point?" Because she claims she went out, and she's like one of the, like, pagan kind of type people. Like, she was doing a
witch kind of thing?
She was doing a rite basically outside.
Okay.
And 3 lightning bolts apparently, like, because she was holding up a sword, also hit her and all this crazy stuff. And that's when he was like, "These people making this up?" Because he just talked to John about all this weird stuff.
I mean, you got to think about that. Like, and I'm not taking credibility away from Zach Bagans and the whole Ghost Adventures thing. I mean, we talked about, we can't determine whether or not what's going on with him is real. But if he's calling bullshit, and excuse my language there, that goes a long way, dude.
Yeah, the start of this episode, he was like, when John started mentioning all the killing of the aliens, seeing them, shooting at the craft, and then they brought in this other person that's done rites and stuff, and was telling me, he was just like, whoa, hold on, is this elaborate scheme? Is this BS?
Yeah, see, and I mean,
this is one of those that the reason why when I first heard about Skinwalker, I thought it was this place. And I was like, oh, I'm not going to do an episode on this. Because this is some crazy dude out there
that's what, I mean,
is claiming to hack up aliens with a freaking samurai sword, but yet they're disappearing.
And I'm still kind of like torn between that, because it's just,
there's a lot of skeptical stuff with this. But at the same time, if it's real, he has alien DNA. He's physically went to war with these little bastards.
Yeah, dude, he's got some nuts on him, man, because, I mean, we both talk about aliens. We both, we're obsessed with the fact of whether or not they exist. I don't think I can hold myself like that. Like, if they were to actually show up like that, my first instinct isn't, oh, let me grab a samurai sword and just, take it at them. It's like, I'd find a way to keep a distance. So, I mean, if this is all legit and he's got a portal to whatever planet or whatever they're coming from, and I mean, I give him credit for that, dude, because...
Well, as far as I know, they don't... I don't think they stay on the property anymore, because the wife said that she refuses to sleep in the master bedroom.
So they own it, they're not there?
I don't think they're there anymore, because at one point it got so bad that she would beg him to handcuff her to the bed because she didn't want to be abducted and taken. She's claimed to be abducted and all that. Now, in Ghost Adventures, and again, like I said, we had episodes where you can take that with a grain of salt. John had told him the girl that they used for this was, they're still photographers. So when ghost hunters go to places, they just start shooting stills, and you can capture ambient beings and light and stuff like that, and that's how they get some of the evidence. So the girl that they used for that, John told him, and it was kind of off camera, but one of the cameras was far enough that you kind of see that they were just kind of talking, and he said that she would be an excellent bait. And basically what they did...
So are they more prone to, like, abducting women?
Well, for some reason, the wife always got messed with most. So he was like, put her in that room. And so she went in there to basically lay down and act like she was going to sleep. Now, she did go to sleep. She said that the whole time she was there, it felt like something went up beside her. That side of her arm went numb, and the next day she had like bruises on her arm that she doesn't know where it came from. And when she left, it was like she was delirious. Like, that's
weird.
Yeah. Which again, it's a show.
Grain of
salt.
Don't
know how much of it's true, but if that stuff's actually happening, they got cases of interdimensional travel, portal. They have actual seen and killed alien greys.
That would be like the most definitive evidence.
The guy that went missing said that where he is a smoking gun of the truth. There was other things where I don't know what Ghost Adventures are using. It's like a little machine that they use to communicate. Like words will pop up.
Oh, damn! I used to remember. I used to know what that was called, and I can't.
And on it there was what did it say? It said it wasn't fused, but the word meant like fused, and then it said plant stars.
Plant stars.
And then it said because they had caught like it was a shadowy figure that came down, and then it said something about brown mist. And then they caught stuff like they were asking, who are you? What? And one of the voices that they caught said, "Look outside, look to the stars." And then it said something that they couldn't understand. So on their part, they were trying to figure out, if again, we don't know if this is real, but if it was that a alien entity that was there, or was it a ghost entity trying to replicate alien stuff?
So, and like we said, we're not trying to discredit Ghost Adventures. I mean, I'm actually like a fan of the show. It's
I've kind of watched Ghost Adventures. I just we've had that previous show where, it's hard to really tell what's real and what's Hollywood.
I just don't want people to think we're here bashing them though. Like,
no, I'm not bashing them.
Like I said, we don't know, and I watch the show. Like I said, I'm a fan. You watch it occasionally. So we're not by any means trying to discredit or bash, Zach Bagans and the whole Ghost Adventure thing. But yeah,
they had one guy that was with them that went out because they talked to another guy that they made a movie. I should have written down. It was called like The Lightning something.
I think I've seen it. Was it about the guy in the woods where like his friends watched him get abducted?
That isn't too far from that ranch.
From where that happened?
They talked to that guy. The same cat.
Well, we'll do a video on him next time,
okay,
because I know that story. I know the story and I've seen the movie.
So they talked to that guy. So basically, he had told one of the guys there's an area that he sees a lot of just UFO activity. So they literally
lights in the sky and stuff?
Yeah, they literally dropped one of them off in the middle of nowhere. He told him like, "Hey, I would like to actually have an alien encounter, even be abducted." And they were like, "You're crazy!" Like, he gave up his radio. He was going to even give him his cell phone. They're like, "No, we're not going to give us your cell phone." Left 2 cameras. He filmed. It was a light that came up and then split into like a 3-shot, then it disappeared. And then he kept hearing stuff. Now the hearing stuff is in the middle of the desert. It could have been an animal.
It could have been an animal.
What was freaking him out was it was large and it sounded like more of boots crunching into the gravel, where nature usually doesn't make sounds like that.
No, not that heavy anymore.
Yeah. So he was even like, I hear your footsteps. And it was over by one of the cameras, but it was behind the camera.
So you couldn't see it.
And they never really went back to that afterwards. Like, they didn't talk to him. Like, they showed his stuff, and then they just didn't go over it. I felt like they could have made a lot more episodes.
Did he get abducted?
Oh, no, he didn't get abducted. But he did catch that light, and then it was like, it looked like 3, and then it disappeared.
See, and for me, that's kind of hard to dismiss because, like I said, I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, I saw a UFO or yeah, I saw aliens. But I've seen weird stuff like that happen in the sky, Like, we talked about it in one of our earlier videos about the stuff we seen. And I seen a light that was like, it looked like a slow dropping, drop. And then it would just like start erratically moving and then it just shot up. So, I mean, that just for me is hard to dismiss because I've seen something similar to that,
So, and there was another spot just outside the gate. They were looking right before they went in the house to start the research. They were seeing weird lights in the sky too.
Around the ranch?
Yeah, and they had I'm not going to say it was evidence of UFO. But they were reporting it.
They caught something, yeah.
Yeah, so in that episode, they did get what I would consider paranormal and UFO stuff. The place is, it's a hot spot for something if it's real.
I'm gonna do some more of my own research on it and look it up. And what, for any of them that are interested, what season and episode on Ghost Adventures was
It was season 15, episode 12, I believe.
Okay. Because that's definitely something I'm going to check out, because
yeah.
that's some crazy stuff, dude.
The only thing, like I said, that really throws red flags is, one, it's really bizarre. You get somebody that's saying that they killed 18 Greys with the samurai sword.
Seeing that,
And then once all this stuff is starting to be reported, such a price hike in the property.
Yeah, but see, that's so weird to me, like, because you describing this guy, like, the first thing that comes to my head is just a crazy person, dude, like somebody out there on some kind
I always
of
thought
drug
it was
or
a
something.
younger cat, like our age.
Yeah.
And then that's the main reason why I really started, because I was like, well, who is this guy? And then I was like looking at some of the reports, and then I seen Ghost Hunters did a episode on it. I was like, well, I gotta check that out.
Yeah,
And,
I'm gonna have to look all this up, man. This is some trippy. Like, I've never heard of this, dude. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's so if you're ever around the Phoenix area, go to Rainbow Valley and go check out the ranch.
Stardust.
I'm not saying
Don't break in,
break
because
in or anything,
there is some
but,
aliens are gonna get messed up.
You can easily, it's a desert area. You can easily check out, do your own investigations around the place.
If you do decide to do something like that, though, be careful, because we don't know. Like I said, we don't know how much of this is real. So there is something around there,
Yeah, I mean, the area has reported a lot of UFO and alien activity. So if you go there, a lot of these being reported aren't friendly. So I'm not saying go and...
Not thinking of it, Arizona and Phoenix in general, it has a really high, like...
well, that whole desert
sighting, dude, yeah.
One thing that really throws things off is that town, there's like a nuclear power plant by it.
That would be something that would draw their attention.
Yeah.
I mean, nuclear power is probably our strongest weapon, so...
Well, some people think that they refuel there.
At the nuclear power plant?
Yeah, that's why there's a lot of activities by them, but who knows?
Well...
I've never got to chop a Gray's head off and,
With a
question
sword.
them, you know what I mean? Like...
I don't think you can question him once he chopped the head off, though.
Yeah, I'm just saying. If they're hostile, I'm going to be like, hi guys.
Period. But no, that was an interesting episode, man. I never heard of this ranch, dude.
So, we're going to end this one out. Give us your opinions, your thoughts. Do some research on this. It's, like I said, it's Stardust Ranch. Plug it in, you're going to find stuff. It's some people dubbed it Alien Ranch because I guess a lot of stuff happens all the time.
And we're not trying to plug or advertise, but definitely check out the Ghost Adventure episode. You said season 15,
I
episode
believe
12?
it was 15, episode 12. The episode is named Stardust Ranch.
So just look that up. I'm definitely going to look it up because I've never seen that episode.
Yeah. Give us a comment. What do you guys think on this one? Like I said, this is a case that when I first heard about it, I've known about it for a little while. I thought the dude was just insane. But now that I've researched a lot of it, I'm like, I personally would like to go to this place. And
that would be kind of cool.
Just find out the history on it and more of just the weird stuff because, like the Skinwalker, he's reported seeing beings
out about the
in
area,
the pastures and stuff. And that when he first got there, that weird guy with the machete walking up saying,
I killed
I'm the monster killer. You know what I mean? That's
pretty dope. I mean, it's kind of cool, but it's kind of weird.
Yeah. And he said he was a weird looking dude too. Like,
well, let us know what you think.
Yeah.
Definitely check out the episode and just do your research on it because I know I am. So that was a cool alien episode, man.
Yeah. So like, comment, subscribe, and we'll have another kind of alien related one this week.
Next week, in lieu of the aliens, we'll be honoring our troops for Veterans Day.
Yeah, so next Monday we won't have a Alien Monday, but so we're going to do a doubleheader this week. And with that, guys, thank you for stopping by.
We'll see you next time.